My mom, I don't know what she did. She did something right. I came out okay. I'm 6 feet tall and I build muscle if I even look at a piece of meat. So I can't complain. And then as I got older, I started smoking a ton of weed, and next thing I knew, man, I was like jacking off the strawberries and shit.
Loud noises and annoying stimuli.
Oh god, that was too relatable. If I look at a man too long, it's like I'm either gonna kill this man or have sex with him. What's up, you fucking crackalicious honkies? Take a cold shower? I don't want to take a cold shower. I like healthy stuff. But some of the shit they try to get you to do nowadays is fucked up, man. I don't want to do. What is the benefit of a cold shower? What is the benefit? I'm not getting shocked the way I'm getting shocked with a ice bath. I'm in the sauna for, I like rocking. I'm a good 15 minutes, 20 minutes in the sauna. Stepping out, ice plunge. 2 degrees Celsius, ice plunge. 2.5 minutes. I get ridiculous. And I feel fantastic after that. The showers, fuck you. The pills, fuck you. I had this conversation this morning, man. Because I was on a nootropic stack. I was on Racetram. I was on Noopept. And then I would potentiate it with stuff. And I would take celery root extract. And I would take quercetin. I would take zinc. I would take magnesium L-threonate and ashwagandha. I would take all these fucking supplements, man. And I'm just like, it doesn't do anything. None of it fucking does anything. You know what does stuff? Vyvanse. Sleep 7.5 hours a night. And then work out most days of the week. Sorry, I have to send some images around. If anyone here is in Toronto, we are doing a live show doors at 6:30. Live show starts at 7. We're doing another Anti-Clanker Manifesto reading. Check my Instagram. The link is in the description for my IG. Show up, man. It's fun. We're casual people. I like chatting to anybody, man. Would you ever come down to Florida? Daniel, I love Florida. It depends on where you're at in Florida. I have a sick obsession with Miami. I like Miami in the way I like watching Russian dash cam footage. Because it's such a, decadently horrible city. But at the same time, there's something so endearing about it. It's so honestly itself. When I go to Miami, I think, fuck, this city is just, this city's autistic. I liked the beach bum vibe of Miami Beach. It was a bit more pedestrian, a bit more middle class. I liked it. But Brickell's fucking insane, man. Brickell's fucked up. Brickell's a fucked up place, man. Anyone here lives in fucking Brickell, you're cracked. New York's a beautiful city as well. I think New York's my favorite city. Miami's nice too. Maybe I want to be nomadic. Maybe I'm too old to be nomadic, man. I'm 27. Find a wife. That's what I say. My boys come to me and they say, brother, what's the move tonight? I say, seek a relationship. Say hi to YouTube. We're entering YouTube clip mode right now. Okay. Autism. I heard that Tylenol causes autism, and this is what I want to look into right now. ASAP Science. 39 hours ago. Is Tylenol actually causing autism? Let's watch it. Fuck it. Wait, this needs context first. Before I go into this, bit of context, okay?
So taking Tylenol is not good.
This dude, he's got poo-poo in his pants. He's got doo-doo bum. I gotta watch that back. That's one of those painful sentences I've ever heard fucking delivered in my entire life.
During pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good.
How many stimulants are they? This is like the Biden stuff all over again. They pump them up with stimulants. They give him adrenochrome, they give him stimulants, they fucking pump him up. I don't trust this man. I don't take Tylenol. One, I'll get it out of the way. I don't take Tylenol. I refuse to take Tylenol. I straight up take opiates before I take Tylenol. I don't fuck with Tylenol, man. It's bad vibes. There's a lot of things I don't do because the vibes are bad. And you may call me a chud. And I know I just rambled on about how much I hate health people. Because they try to tell you to do all this dumb shit outside of sleeping and exercising. that I don't agree with. And I've done so much dumb shit to my body and taken so many weird fucking supplements, and nothing has changed. But I am ultimately, in my heart of hearts, I am a chud reactionary. And I do not take Tylenol or wear sunscreen or do anything sort of that could anything that is over the counter or anything that is like off the shelf as a medication that can compound. I feel like things that compound I don't like. Like using sunscreen every day feels like a compounding effect to me. I'll take the zinc oxide sunscreen, the stuff with the particles that are big enough they can't pass through your skin. Let's see what this says. Let's see what Perplexity cooked up for us. Thank you, computer. I love you. The prevalence of autism has increased dramatically from the early 1900s to 2022, representing one of the most significant shifts in diagnostic trends in modern public health. The data reveals an extraordinary transformation from what was once considered an extremely rare condition affecting less than 1 in 2,000 children to what is now diagnosed in approximately 1 in 31 children in the United States. Thank God I don't have it. My mom, I don't know what she did. She did something right. I came out okay. I'm 6 feet tall and I build muscle if I even look at a piece of meat. So I can't complain. Okay, that's sort of what I wanted to know. I don't really want to know all of the science behind it. I just wanted to know the loose numbers so I can make a grand sweeping statement. Now, and I gotta ask my mom if she took Tylenol when I was a wee lad, or when I was an embryo, perhaps. If she took acetaminophen, because my parents are old, man. My mom was 38, and my dad was 40, and I'm fine. Maybe. I think I'm fine, man. I'd be surprised if I had something. I feel very normal. I feel like a very normal man. That's the most of my childhood friends when they met my father, they'd go, "Fuck, your dad's relicious. Your dad is a real explosion." My dad was a vital man. And I think it's because he was an old school guy, He drank a maintenance amount. Back in the good old days when you would do maintenance drinking. And no one does that anymore, man. Everyone's binge drinking on the weekends or cutting it out entirely. You were like a maintenance drinker. You would have 1 or 2 throughout the day. And then in the evenings, you'd have a couple doubles of scotch and go to bed. You do that your entire life. You'd live until you're in your early 70s and die of a preventable illness. Die of something that would have, if you had lived longer, you would have just faded away. You would have died a coward's death, gripping on to the hospital bed, kicking and screaming. Tylenol launch begins in the mid-1950s. Interesting. So yeah, we're looking at basically no correlation. We're doing science right now. We're doing deep, meta-analysis of medical studies. This is important. I didn't know many autistic kids, man. I feel like my town was the kind of town you had kids at your early 20s at. I'd have a kid tomorrow. I say this all the time. If you gave me a red button to press it, and when I woke up, there'd be a baby in a cradle. There'd be a baby in a crib in my room when I woke up the next morning after I pressed that button. I'd press it 6 times, maybe. 6 or 7 times. That's why I say, go find a wife. Go find a wife. Go have a bunch of kids, man. What else is there to do? Make money? Feed yourself into the fucking neoliberal profit machine? That's it? That's what life's all about. Money? Put a bullet in my goddamn head. We live in a nightmare zone. God Christ almighty. Anyway, let's watch this. ASAP's... Oh, no. Please don't start your videos with frames like this. Whatever you do, man. If you're an aspiring YouTuber, and just for the sake of posterity here, for the sake of your own reputation, whatever you fucking do, make sure the first frame of your video isn't this. If that was me and I said something that someone didn't like, that would get blasted over Twitter. That happened to me. I've had that before. If you go through one of my videos, if you go through anybody's videos and you pause with their mid-speech, it's always like, they're always making like that face, when someone's talking and you click pause. It's always like that shit. And then it gets cut. And people talk shit about me on Twitter and they say yeah, look at this retard. And they fucking You have a screenshot of my face that's a freeze from a video. Anyway, be careful out there.
Autism is on the rise. A study from the US Health and Human Resources found that in the year 2000, it was 1 in 150 kids who had autism, but in the year 2022, it was 1 in 31 kids. Other studies have found that the rate—
That's so many kids, man. Can I make that face the thumbnail for this clip? Thank you. Kill your avatar. And it's actually truly baffling how prevalent autism is. I was born in 98, so I was in the 1 in 150. I was back in the 1 in 150 days when I was born. My elementary school had my elementary school probably had like 150 kids, give or take. And there was one autistic kid growing up. His name was Sean Dye. But he was classic autism, man. He wasn't like, Discord autism. He wasn't like he wasn't even like trains autism. He was like couldn't function. Like if he wore like anything but a red shirt, he'd freak out. Like he had to walk around with headphones on and gloves on, that kind of autism. But it was one kid. There were some off kids, there were some indoor boys, but it wasn't crazy, it wasn't like now where it seems like everyone has fucking autism. I like, and look, I'm not talking shit about autistic people. I mean, it's a spectrum disorder. We all know it's a spectrum disorder, and I have my issues with eye contact, man. I can't if I speak to somebody and I look in their eyes for too long, not women, only men. Women, I can lock eyes and talk to a woman with unbroken eye contact for 5 hours and never lose my train of thought. But with men, if I lock eyes with a man I'm not super familiar with, I feel like this energy rise inside of me that's sort of like, dying to escape. And maybe it's because I want to kill them or something of the sort, but I'm not really sure what that is. Gen Z are a little autistic, I feel like. Yeah, man, maybe, I have my issues. But I'm fine at the end of the day. That's called being gay. Guilty as charged. Yeah, sometimes if I look at a man too long, it's like I'm either gonna kill this man or have sex with him. That's sort of my feelings. I have trouble discerning between which one it is. It's sort of like when you're on a roller coaster and the roller coaster's going up and you're excited. And that excitement is the same thing you would feel if a bear was chasing you. You would feel the same level of excitement. But it's contextual, right? And I think that's sort of the same thing. It's contextual. Like obviously, I'm not gonna have sex with this man or kill him, and that energy has to go somewhere. So I start looking at my feet.
Rates of autism are increasing in the UK, Japan, South Korea, and Denmark. So what is happening? You may have heard about an environmental toxin. There are claims of plastics leaching into the placenta causing autism in the brain. There's even new research about Tylenol consumption during pregnancy causing autism in the kid. But today we are going to explain to you exactly what is causing an increase in autism diagnosis so you can understand what to do about it. First of all, what is autism? It can show up for
I think smoking weed makes you impotent, Nicholas V. I don't think it gives you autism. I think it makes you impotent in a weird way. You can only jack off to looking at a bowl of fruit. Like when I was a kid, I'd see like the GoDaddy commercials when I was like 12 years old, and that would get me going. Like just the GoDaddy commercials. That was great. And then as I got older, I started smoking a ton of weed, and next thing I knew, man, I was like jacking off to strawberries and shit. I was like looking at strawberries and blueberries, and like apples and stuff, and like the bark on a tree, and that's all that would do it for me. After that, so I found that really I got over that. I'm back to being into women now, but there's a brief period in my life where, and I think it did make me impotent. It made me not interested in women for a couple of years, like grade 10, I was out on girls. I was kind of over them. I remember grade 8, I really liked girls. And then grade 10, I just didn't care about women anymore. I was just looking at fruit. It was the weed. And it's a sort of spiritual impotence. It was a sort of spiritual impotence at the time. So, what can you do? Don't smoke weed.
Different people in different ways, but generally it encompasses a harder time communicating, having specific focused interests, problems with routine when it's disrupted, intense reactions to bright lights, loud noises, and annoying stimuli, and
oh god, that was too relatable. I'm fine.
And autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, is a spectrum, so it will vary from person to person. Why is there an increase in autism diagnosis recently? One hot area of research is air pollution exposure during pregnancy. The tiny particles we breathe in can get passed down to the placenta and potentially into the developing brain. A study on 8,000 children and mothers found that higher exposure to ozone in the atmosphere was associated with autism. The thing is that these air pollutants that are being studied have actually been decreasing in society recently, so it does not explain why there's been an increase in autism diagnosis. Another popular idea in the media right now is that Tylenol consumption during pregnancy can cause autism. Typically, pregnant people are told that Tylenol or acetaminophen is safer to take than Advil or ibuprofen, as Advil can impact blood flow to the fetus and has been linked to congenital birth defects. But more recent concern is that Tylenol may be affecting sex hormones and acting as an endocrine disruptor. Not all studies found issues with Tylenol in pregnancy in this way, but enough did in order for there to be a concern about its impact on children. A 2021 consensus statement in Nature journal suggested people should stop taking Tylenol during pregnancy. But a more recent study in 2024 found something else. This recent study followed almost 2.5 million children in Scandinavia over a 24-year period. It looked at data on the parents, how much Tylenol they consumed, a lot of other information about their medical records, and this was all due to huge public records that are taken in Scandinavia. These studies did at first find that parents or mothers who were taking Tylenol, their kids had a 20 to 30% increased chance of having autism. But then they started to factor in other things that could be at play. For example, the age of the mom, which is also known to have an impact on causing autism. Accounting for age alone took the cause of autism from Tylenol down from 30% to 5%. This is because it has been found that the age of the parent does have an impact on the kid's chance of having autism. Right now in the US, 3.2% of kids have autism, but if your mother happens to be over the
That's so many.
age of 40, that increases from 3.2% to 5.6%. A similar increase is also seen if the sperm is coming from a father who is over 40 years old. When age is factored in, the impact of Tylenol starts to decrease, and then the impact from Tylenol completely flatlines when you take into consideration genetics. Depending on the study, it has been found that autism has an inheritability of 70 to 90.
You could inherit autism? You think someone would have sent me a fucking letter in the mail about this? That's crazy. That's fucked up, man. That's hard to believe. That's hard to believe. Thank God I'm not autistic. There has to be a screening thing, right? As well. Like it's screened differently. Anybody I've met who says they're diagnosed with autism, it's like sort of clear, even if they're like, very, 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 very high functioning, like it doesn't impact their life. It is so. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So maybe it's a screening thing. I don't fucking know.
90%, which is similar to the inheritability of height. Family history of autism is one of the strongest risk factors. For example, if one sibling has autism, it's more likely that the other will as well. When it comes to identical twin studies, when one has autism, it's extremely likely the other will as well. So if you are a mother on the spectrum, you're more likely to have a kid who will also be on the spectrum. And something so interesting that came out of this study was that mothers on the spectrum are more likely to take Tylenol because they have increased pain during pregnancy and increased chance of migraines. Essentially, when genetics is considered, Tylenol stops becoming a huge risk factor when it comes to autism. This doesn't mean that as a pregnant mother, you don't have the autonomy to talk to your doctor about taking Advil or Tylenol. Maybe you don't want to do those things just to decrease risk, and that's completely fine. But right now, we need to understand what is being talked about in regards to Tylenol causing autism. So this is the real reason why there's an increase in autism recently. This is important information. Please share this widely, because the idea of autism being caused by something specific is being co-opted in the media right now. The real reason from a research and scientific perspective for an increase in autism is diagnostic testing. In the 1960s, to be considered diagnosed with autism, you mostly had to be nonverbal. In the 1980s, the diagnostics shifted and started to include children who were hyperfixated on specific things. In the early 1990s, it was only diagnosed in young children and required to meet less criteria than the decade before. And a huge reason why there is an increase in diagnosis recently is that adults can now be diagnosed with autism. In the past, you had to be a child. In 2013, Asperger's syndrome was no longer separated from ASD and was looped into autism spectrum disorder. increasing the amount of people with autism again, with a study finding that the 60% increase in autism from 1980 to 2011 was due to how the diagnosis was changed. More recent studies are finding that the increase now in autism diagnosis is due to a change in the public perception of autism. The decreased stigma in teachers and parents is calling for people and children to get diagnosed more often. An increase in diagnostic testing.
I believe this guy. What does this say? I think another factor is before 2013, ADHD and autism were considered mutually exclusive, but now we understand they're actually co-occur quite often. I'll believe it. I'll take it, man. Who am I? Who am I to deny science? A humble fucking YouTuber. A humble, wretched, chud YouTuber. I'm gonna sit here and deny science, man? What am I gonna fucking what am I gonna believe? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to believe? Am I supposed to do my own research and study medicine? Science is my god. Mary Science Miss. Thank you very much. Science is my god. Mary Science Miss. And a happy Big Pharma New Year. What the fuck is the incentive? I'm asking Perplexity again. What is the incentive? Can somebody tell me the incentive? I'm an incentives guy, okay? You know, there's ideas guys. You know how there's ideas guys, right? There's shape rotators. There's word cells. There's ideas guys. I'm an incentives guy. Show me the incentive. I'll show you the outcome. I don't know if that was Hayek who said that or von Mises. One of those fuckers in Vienna. One of those neoliberal bastards in Vienna said that. Milton Friedman. He wasn't Viennese. Fuck you. I won't use AI. Why did Trump link autism to Tylenol? What is the incentive for this? NPR board. Trump blames Tylenol for autism. Science does not back him up. Science doesn't back him up, guys. Be careful here. Federal officials also said they would be changing the label of leucovorin, a form of vitamin D typically used in conjunction with cancer treatment, to enable its use as a treatment for autism. And they added that state Medicaid programs in partnership with Federal Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services would cover this use. That's nice. The suite of changes was announced despite a notable lack of clear evidence to support these moves. The changes were presented as part of what the administration said was its commitment to identify the root cause of autism, diagnoses of which have increased over the recent years. Flanked by Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy and Centers for Medicare and Medicaid head Dr. Mehmet Oz, taking Tylenol is not good. I'll say it. It's not good. I hate that they have to fucking quote this clown in articles. This guy has to be quoted. Trump discouraged giving acetaminophen to babies as well. He also suggested the vaccines and their frequency may be the culprit in causing autism, an oft-repeated claim that has been debunked by decades of research. Trump and his deputies repeatedly advised pregnant women to refrain from using acetaminophen, and they said with caution physicians against using it. In a statement sent to NBR, Tylenol maker Kenvue disputed the administration's claims. We believe independent, sound science clearly shows that taking acetaminophen does not cause autism. The statement said, we strongly disagree with any suggestion otherwise and are deeply concerned about the health risks and confusion this poses for expecting mothers and parents. During the press conference, officials pointed to a study done by Harvard University and other researchers that found that women who reported taking acetaminophen while they were pregnant seemed to be slightly more likely to have a child who was later diagnosed with autism. One of the researchers on that study was Ann Bauer, an epidemiologist at the University of Massachusetts. Bauer said she thinks pregnant women should be told about a possible risk from acetaminophen, but the researcher also is worried that it might be too soon to have the federal government offering guidance on its use. Even the notice about acetaminophen issued by physicians by the Food and Drug Administration pointed out that its possible link to autism was an area of ongoing scientific debate and said that while an association between acetaminophen and autism has been described in many studies, a causal relationship has not been established and there are contrary studies in scientific literature. Shucks, man. I don't know. Are we cooked? Are we fucking cooked? Are we done? Are we fucked up?